All right. Let's get to it. Carlson and Lamont's departure from Fox and CNN marked seismic shift in cable news.
We are going to turn now to those sudden and surprise announcements in the world of cable news. Tucker Carlson, one of the most prominent right-wing voices in the country, he is out at Fox News despite the largest audience of any host at that network. And then a few clicks away over at CNN, longtime anchor Don Lemon abruptly fired after 17 years, most recently as co-host of their new morning show. Jerika Duncan is here. She's been following all of it for us. Jerika, good morning.
Good morning to you. What a day. Lemon said he was stunned by the decision to let him go, saying that his agent told him he was terminated Monday morning without management speaking to him. Well, CNN disputes this, saying a meeting was offered. But there's even more shock, rather, over the termination of...
I was talking to someone at the gym earlier today, primary demographic for CNN, and I kind of get why they did it. Like, the whole, women in their fucking prime shit actually, I think, triggered a lot of people, understandably so. It is not very surprising. It is surprising that he got clapped after 17 years in the way that he did. And there's got to be more information there that we are not privy to, because that's crazy, man. That's crazy that he gave 17 years of his fucking life to this institution, and then he had a clear shitty fucking take about women not being in their prime or whatever, which is, not something you can get away with saying. Let's be real, especially if you're on CNN. It's like if Tucker Carlson went on his broadcast and was like, old racist people who are hallucinating and own weapons are the worst people in America. Okay? Like white racist old people, I fucking hate them. You know what I mean? It's like saying that on Fox News. You can't do that. That's your primary demographic. Right? Just like you can't do that on CNN. You can't turn around and say, women are past their prime after their 20s, 30s, okay, maybe 40s. And then when talking to a woman who is a panelist alongside him, who's a co-host, Poppy Harlow, who is literally in her fucking 40s, where she goes, excuse me, what the fuck do you mean by that statement? Which was such an understandable response. He goes, just Google it. Don't shoot the messenger. Isn't her name Poppy Harlow? Was that PewDiePie? Did I fuck that up? Or is that like a PewDiePie reference? No, her name is Poppy Harlow, yeah.
Tucker Carlson, who at one point commanded one of the largest audiences in cable news history.
And we'll be back on Monday. In the meantime, have the best weekend.
But Tucker Carlson was not back on Monday night.
Fox News and Tucker Carlson have agreed to part ways. I wish Tucker the best.
In a brief statement, Fox News said Friday was Carlson's last show, and that his former slot would be filled by rotating Fox News personalities until a new host is named. According to the Wall Street Journal, Carlson was informed only 10 minutes before the announcement. The 53-year-old has not yet commented, and the reasons for his dismissal have not been released. Just last week, Fox agreed to pay $787 million to settle a defamation lawsuit brought by Dominion Systems for misleading coverage of its voting machines during the 2020 election.
We need to find out exactly what happened in this election.
Court documents show Carlson was one of several hosts who said one thing on the air and another off, privately calling the voter fraud claims absurd. The firing also comes roughly a month after his former head of booking, Abby Grossberg, filed a lawsuit claiming men on Carlson's team repeatedly made sexist and anti...
Okay, for the record, this is dumb as fuck. If you think that this is the reason why they let him go, you're out of your mind, okay? As I said this yesterday over and over again, oh my God, I am the assembly manager at the racism factory, and guys, I have something to tell you. They are very racist at the Racism Factory. That's crazy. Didn't know that I was signing up to be the assembly manager at the Racism Factory, and they're doing racism over there. Okay? It's like your job is to literally book white nationalists for the Tucker Carlson broadcast. So that's number one. Number two, this kind of lawsuit immediately, like the Fox News, holy shit, they would go into arbitration, or they would just fucking do a hush money, shut the fuck up money plea deal so fast their head would spin. This happened to Bill O'Reilly, who Tucker Carlson ironically took the spot of, only because it piled up to a certain degree where Bill O'Reilly was actually hurting the fucking brand. How's Hasan not fat yet? Every time I pull up, he's eating. Brother, I eat at the same time every day, and I'm eating a salad. That's the reason why I'm not fat. I don't know if you know this, but like human beings always eat every day. Maybe you don't, but I do. Anyway, like Bill O'Reilly was like a serial sexual harasser. And ultimately, I think it still came down to asking too much money. I think Tucker Carlson was going to ask for too much money. And then they were just using this as like the public facing reason why they fucking clapped him. But there's got to be some other reasons. Oh my God, look at her floppy ass ear, bro. Oh my fucking God, her little fucking paws moving around as she's dreaming. And that floppy, floopy ass ear, I'm losing my fucking mind. Oh my God, we don't deserve dogs. We really don't deserve dogs. Okay. He's dreaming. Let's continue.
Comments, although Fox has disputed the claims.
How would amnesty for that many people affect our, quote, democracy?
On air, Carlson's comments and framing of the country found a loyal and large audience and gave him influence in the post-Trump conservative movement that many politicians would envy. David Folkenflik, who covers media for NPR, says Carlson's sky-high ratings gave him outsized clout in today's right-wing politics.
Donors watch Fox to see what candidates are getting airtime and how they perform and how receptive or hostile the questioning is from Fox hosts. It ends up ultimately influencing the workings of the Republican Party.
We do begin, though, with news about this show.
Meanwhile, CNN also cut ties with one of its own marquee names Monday. It was Don Lemon's sharp criticisms of the Trump administration during Lemon's primetime show that earned him his popularity.
The president should be ashamed of himself.
Though his firing comes after a tumultuous couple of months, starting with his comments earlier this year about presidential candidate Nikki Haley.
Nikki Haley isn't in her prime. Sorry. When a woman is considered to be in her prime in her 20s and 30s and maybe 40s.
I think the commonality of these two stories is you're seeing the networks say that they are more important than any.
I love that. 17 years of being a fucking demon, and he goes out because he shit on Nikki fucking Haley, who is such a non-entity, so fucking irrelevant, that Donald Trump literally laughed about it when they were like, "Oh, what do you think about Nikki Haley running?" She was like, "I'm really happy. I'm glad. I'm good for her." Like Don Lemon lost to Nikki fucking Haley, dog. You couldn't shut your fucking misogynistic ass up for like 3.5 seconds. How did he think that was okay? It's so funny. I mean, he thinks it's okay because he's like, you know, he's probably said it a lot, said similar things off camera. It wasn't even a hot mic. It was live. His two female co-hosts could not believe the words that were coming out of his fucking mouth. I watched it so many times at this point, I can't watch it again. But like, it was hilarious. Anyway, this is more about Tucker. I want to talk more about Tucker.
Any one host or any one figure at the network, that they have an ability as well as a responsibility to assert themselves.
And another commonality, it appears that both Lemon and Carlson are reportedly hired the same attorney to handle their exits. Meanwhile, at NBC, CNBC anchor Hadley Gamble accused NBC Universal chief executive Jeff Shell of sexual harassment and discrimination. Shell was let go Sunday after he admitted an inappropriate relationship with a woman who worked at the company. So a lot to unpack. I have a feeling that we're going to learn more and more about the other sides of whether it's Lemon or Carlson said.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And again, reportedly hired this attorney in Hollywood, Brian Friedman,
who's that?
who's known to have represented people like Megyn Kelly, Tiffany Cross over at MSNBC, Gabrielle Union. So we'll see what happens.
I wonder if that means that they're both planning to pursue legal action, which I think will be very interesting.
They could be.
It was a head-spinning day all the way
It definitely
around.
was. Remember when SpaceX had that rocket explode and they called it a rapid on-schedule
Yes.
disassembly?
Oh, wow.
Those words come to mind
It's
in watching
pretty
the
fitting.
news here in cable.
Yeah, and Don released a
days.
pretty lengthy statement online yesterday, which means he's not taking this lightly.
Which CNN then responded to.
Of course.
It's starting to get a little messy.
All right, let's see. Fox News, Tucker Carlson, part
We've been
ways.
reporting on the blockbuster changes in cable news, and blockbuster is a word here, affecting two of the most high-profile personalities on TV. In a surprise move, Fox News parted ways with Tucker Carlson yesterday. He was the network's most popular primetime host and one of the most influential conservative media voices on the air. Shortly after that, longtime CNN host, that's Don Lemon, says he was fired by the cable news network. Lemon says that he was stunned when his agent broke the news to him. We're joined now by...
Let me tell you something. This is what makes Don Lemon's firing way more understandable. That's why the Tucker Carlson firing is way bigger. You get it? Because Tucker Carlson was fucking dropping fat loads of ratings on Fox News. Okay? That's what the difference is. It's like wild that he was like, I get why they would fire Don Lemon. Maybe not in an unceremonious way like they did after 17 years of being on the network. But Tucker Carlson is like, Tucker Carlson is the LeBron James of propaganda. Like, he straight up is the GOAT at white supremacist agitprop. I make no mistake. Like, he is so awful but he is so successful at like being racist. Think about it. How many anchors use his like tone of voice and his intonation and the way he his inflections? Think about how many people do that in the media now. What's going on? A lot of times, blah, 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 blah. Like that shit literally was so OP that other people, including Chris Hayes, kind of like picked it up. He's stupid as fuck, but somehow he's popular. He's not stupid at all. What are you talking about? He is a disgusting piece of shit monster. I've never said Tucker Carlson is stupid. I think Elon Musk is not very intelligent, nowhere near as intelligent as he claims he is. I've never said Tucker Carlson is stupid. He says awful things deliberately. He's an awful man. I would never undermine him. I would never actually foolishly claim he's stupid. He's a very smart guy. That's the reason why he's the most effective white nationalist propagandist in the country. He says stupid shit in a very smart way, in a very deliberate way.
By Ben Smith, he's editor-in-chief of Semaphore. He's also author of the upcoming book, I love this title, Traffic, Genius, Rivalry, and Delusion in the Billion-Dollar Race to Go Viral. Can't wait to read that, Ben Smith. But for now, let's talk about the big changes in the landscape. We'll start with Tucker first, because they said that Fox says that they had mutually agreed to part ways. That clearly does not seem to be the case. On Friday, he was chomping on pizza saying, I'll see you Monday. And then the Removal is effective immediately. Also never a good sign.
No goodbye.
No goodbye. So what exactly happened here? I don't think that anybody has been given a reason about why he was let go.
Yeah, I mean, this was a mutual agreement that seems to have played out over about.
Tucker Carlson might not be good at debates. He might not have the subject matter down pat. It doesn't matter. He is the most effective white nationalist propagandist in the nation. It is 100% true. He is not a stupid person. Okay? You're crazy. Dude, he is literally the most successful news broadcaster in the fucking country. He was the guy who was poisoning the minds of so many of your fucking parents and grandparents. He is evil. Calling him dumb takes away from that. You're making it seem like he's like stumbled into that position.
About 15 minutes.
Yes.
I mean, it was a rapid mutual agreement. And there's been reporting, that he had been disrespectful to his bosses in emails, that he'd said offensive things about women in emails that have emerged in court. All this stuff was known for a long time. And I think, I was just texting with somebody senior at News Corp. People there don't know what the final straw that maybe last Friday caused the Murdoch family to push him out was.
And they said that it came from the top, that Rupert Murdoch said he's got to go.
I think the company is saying that the official leadership, Lachlan Murdoch and Suzanne Scott, made the decision, but I don't think a lot happens there that Rupert Murdoch doesn't approve. And he's made a series of quite dramatic decisions recently. He called off his engagement a few weeks ago, and he and Fox was set to merge with News Corp, and they called that off recently too.
So what happens to the vacuum on Fox News? Also, were you surprised because Tucker was so powerful and said so many things that he's left to go unchecked for many, many years? What happens now?
I think Tucker was, even in the context of Fox, he was pretty unusual. He was leading sort of a conservative, a right-wing populist movement from inside Fox, where he's out there interviewing, Viktor Orban, the Hungarian prime minister. This wasn't standard issue Republican politics. And I think it likely goes back to something more like, loyal Republican talking heads who are, holding to the party line, who are attacking Joe Biden, but who aren't heading out into the fringe that way.
So where does Tucker possibly go from here? And
Tucker Carlson was ideologically a white nationalist. And I think they find him to be like too into white nationalism. Ultimately, Republicans care about one thing: being servile little fucking dogs to their corporate overlords. Democrats care about this too, but Republicans openly serve them, right? White nationalism is just a tool to divide the nation while you allow those corporate overlords to control everything, okay? Republicans are white nationalist second, like Republican politicians in the infrastructure of the party are white nationalist second, corporatist dickheads first, okay? Tucker Carlson, on the other hand, only hated capitalism because capitalism allowed for diversity. So he believed a little too much in some of the things that he was saying. Okay? I think that was part of the problem. Ben Shapiro talked about it for 53 minutes. Are you fucking joking? That's insane, dog. It is stupid to believe these things as a working class person, not for a capitalist to say them. That's actually a really interesting take. You are correct. It is stupid for these things to believe these things as a working class person. It is very smart for a capitalist to say those things, though. Anyway. But ultimately, I do think that, Tucker Carlson's like assessment on capitalism, or his like anti-capitalist sentiment, can be correctly defined by the idiotic take that he had about automation and truck drivers. If you remember, I covered that extensively at the time. I don't want to fucking talk about it again. But you can basically understand exactly where he's coming from and how stupid it is. let's watch the rest of this, and then I'll cover Ben Shapiro, and then I'll give you more details on what Tucker's producer or booker has said so far.
Do political candidates follow him for interviews?
You know, I think political candidates are actually going to be pretty relieved. A lot of Republicans lived in fear of what Tucker Carlson was going to say about them, and also watched his show incredibly carefully for what bill they could introduce the next day to please him. I mean, he was really an entity into his own right, and I think where he goes, there's nowhere like Fox for him. There is, you suggest there are startups. There's the Daily Wire, a conservative startup you could imagine. But I'm not sure anybody can afford a reported $20 million contract.
Yeah, Wall Street Journal's reporting. He was the golden goose there.
Yeah. Why was he allowed to operate that way, Ben, for so long? Because
Come on, man. Come on, Gail. You're literally a fucking media demon, too. How do you not know this? What that guy just said is not a fucking secret. It is very openly the main purpose for why Fox News was created. Are you crazy? Literally go back in fucking time and listen to Roger Ailes. He openly states his desires for what he wants to craft as Fox News.
his numbers were so good, it brought in money. Why?
You know, it's the Murdoch world is pretty unusual. They give people a lot of leeway until they fire them. It's not a tightly run ship, and Fox in particular had become a place where the talent, the hosts, just exercised enormous power, and the central leadership, who reported up to a family office, you know, had a lot of trouble telling them what to do.
Let's turn to Don Lemon, who said he was blindsided.
Stunned.
Yeah, he said
stunned. He's the only one who was stunned.
Right. What do you make of that situation and how he described it in his statement?
Yeah, I think he was. I think probably shocked.
This is journalistic malpractice. If you're a guy who makes a living talking about the media and you're doing media analysis and you don't bring up the fact that, like, Tucker Carlson's awesome power is not unique. Bill O'Reilly did the exact same thing. Like, and this is the express designed purpose for the Fox News media apparatus to work hand in hand, side by side, if not control the Republican Party, to better communicate business interests to the Republican Party. I don't know what to tell you. They literally fucking designed it. Roger Ailes very openly talked about this. Roger Ailes was a Republican Party operative. He said, we need a media arm to basically fucking control the Republican Party a little bit better. How do you not mention that when talking about this? I mean, here. Plan for putting the GOP on TV news. Republican media strategist Roger Ailes launched Fox News Channel in 1996 ostensibly as a fair and balanced counterpoint to what he regarded as the liberal establishment media. But according to a remarkable document buried within the Richard Nixon Presidential Library, the intellectual forerunner for Fox News was a nakedly partisan 1970 plot by Ailes and other Nixon aides to circumvent the prejudices of network news and deliver pro-administration stories to heartland television viewers. The memo called, simply enough, A Plan for Putting the GOP on TV News is included in a 318-page cache of documents detailing Ailes' work for both Nixon and George H.W. Bush administrations that we obtained from the Nixon and Bush presidential libraries. You think that's not important to mention? I feel like that's important to mention. I feel like this is pretty important to mention.
Alrighty, folks, the biggest media.
Anyway. Goofy ass. Look at this. He's still fucking so tired, which is crazy to me. She's such a tired little pupper. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I'm getting the side eye right now. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Boredom is about to set in. Oh, boredom is setting in.